right. Just on Instagram Live, waiting on one of my ministry partner, Matt, and you know, right now the purpose of this live is it's just for us to share our readings from Peter Scazzaro's book, Emotionally Healthy Spirituality. And one thing about that book is that book really is, that book has really helped me a lot to just become more emotionally aware and everything. So I see, Matt, that you joined and everything, and so yeah, just looking forward to figure out how we could have this conversation. Okay, so I have going live with Matt Bar. All right, okay, that's what's up. All
There
right,
you
hey,
go.
what's going? Hey, hey, yeah, hey, where's your mask for the coronavirus?
I am locked in our apartment. So,
Oh, okay. Mm. All right. You know what? Since we are living in interesting times and everything, I don't know if I should record it through the mask because we don't want to catch the corona through the phone or anything.
ooh, that's a good point. That is a
Man,
very good point.
you know what? All jokes aside, though, I'm by myself too. I'm locked in my car too and everything like that. So, you know what? This new mask, man. You know what I think about this new mask? This new mask is like the new cigarettes. Like, um, I remember when they had the no smoking campaign, and when people are smoking, they're like, "Ooh, you're smoking," da 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 da, and they'll judge you so hard and everything. So I think the mask is the same thing now, where like you don't wear a mask out to the public. They're like, "Hey, what are you doing? How come you don't got no mask on?"
Yeah, I've been places, and people have just people have been like, hey, like you're not wearing the mask, like get a mask on, or even
Yeah,
people like at grocery stores. I think it's like people come in and they're like there was someone who both parties had the mask on, but like one guy was looking at something and then
yeah.
he went to reach for something. It's like, bro, like you're too close to me. I was here first, back up. And it's like, bro, like it is an interesting time.
Man, you know what? It definitely is. It definitely is, man. And so, I mean, wow. I mean, so yeah. Well, with that being said, just cutting right to the chase and everything.
Mm.
As we're here for the emotionally healthy spirituality. How's that book been treating you so far?
Yeah. So I've only read chapter one, just because I
Yeah,
kind of want us to be. I don't want to jump too far ahead from what we're discussing.
yeah,
Um, and I think the two things that really stood out to me was Peter Scazzaro gives a story for those who haven't read it, and
yeah,
he talks about his daughter,
yeah,
um, and how like just some of the story. There's a guy who visits this church.
yeah.
He's like, "Hey, I want to hang out with you, get to know you some more." And Pete said, "Nah, man. Like he in his mind, he's like, no, I can't do it." But his
Mm,
outward self said, "No, man. I want to be the guy who everyone's looking up to. I don't want to be projecting people. I don't want this guy to have a bad impression of me."
yeah,
So he invites him over, and the conversation just lags and lags. And all of a sudden, his wife says, "I can't find our daughter."
yeah,
And they find their daughter in the pool.
yeah,
And she didn't drown, but they said, "Oh
yeah,
my goodness, like we we were so focused on ourselves
yeah,
that he was like, I just wanted to get myself looking good,
yeah,
that he ignored what he was feeling, and because he
yeah,
ignored what he was really feeling, it actually almost led to his daughter being hurt and possibly killed. Um,
yeah,
so that story was really big into like, oh my goodness, like for me, like it was an I was like, what am I doing that actually might be harming myself, but
yeah,
not just myself, but the effects that it has on others.
yeah.
Then
Wow.
the second thing that really hit me was what he refers to as the top 10 symptoms of emotionally unhealthy spirituality, and
Okay.
he lists them out, and in there I actually noticed a lot of myself in some of these.
Yeah,
Um, and the first one he has that's what my book's open is he calls it using God to run from God.
yeah.
And from there he's talking about like I'm gonna make it seem like I'm doing all these like Christian-esque things like oh I'll lead a Bible study, I'm
Right.
gonna go preach a sermon,
Yeah,
um, or even like start talking to people about God. But he says we don't do it because we want to serve God. We do it because we want it for our own purposes.
yeah,
Um, and like especially like with us being leaders in ministry, um, that's something that really it's like it's a heart check because are we doing something because I want to do it to glorify God, or am I doing it because I want to glorify myself?
yeah.
So that
Wow.
was and like that just that one, but as he's going all these over these other ones, there were a lot of things that like oh I kind of see a little bit of that in myself,
Yeah.
and that what that ties into something that you and I were discussing earlier is the element of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk about the iceberg a little bit, that'd be great.
Oh man, pretty much the iceberg is when you're when you're on the boat and you see like the iceberg, you're like you see like the way tip of the iceberg, and you're like, oh my goodness, like what is this little tip of the iceberg, and you know how big icebergs are, and even in that whatchamacallit, when that time the Titanic hit, when the Titanic hit the iceberg was really big. But as much as we think that the iceberg is just what it is, there's the iceberg that we see, and that there's the iceberg that we do not see. The iceberg that we do not see is the way underneath the water, and when we see the iceberg that's way underneath the water, that's way bigger um, than the tip of the iceberg, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, with that being said, so like let's say that I may have had a bad day. I may have had a bad day, and you know, I see one of my friends, making a mistake, or I'm just what's it call it? I just see how every little thing annoys me, and I'm thinking like, man, you know what? I'm just so irritated today. I'm just so annoyed. I'm just so frustrated. Um, but the thing is, though, you know, on the outside, I look mad. On the outside, I look irritated. On the outside, I look like just I just look some type of way, right? But the thing
Mm-hmm.
is, though, I need to really ask myself, what's underneath all this? What's underneath my irritation? What's underneath my frustration? Deep down inside, I may have a whole lot of unresolved issues. I may have had a whole lot of heart issues. I may have a lot of issues where like I may have unforgiveness in my heart. The unforgiveness in my heart is something that you cannot really see. That like nobody really sees, and that's just something that I just need to be self-aware of. Um, Unforgiveness. I may have bitterness, resentments towards somebody. Maybe I may have had some, I may be carrying some like family burdens, family trauma, or maybe like the way like no no like let's say that like I was a kid, when I was a kid I used to stutter and stammer a lot, and so for that reason I was bullied and everything, and so like for those reasons I still carry those trauma. So, but the thing is, so on the outside, what the people see is I'm just mad. I'm irritated. I'm frustrated. But deep down inside, there's this whole like list of deep rooted issues. And it's like, you know what? If I do not address these deep rooted issues coming from my childhood, if I do not address my deep rooted issues coming from like wherever, no, or my heart, no, my heart's inclination, my proclivities to sin or whatever, things like that, my tendency to like worship myself and forget others, no, that's deeper than my irritation, my frustration, and things like that, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
know.
like yeah,
Yeah, I have. There's an example of this. About 2 months ago, when the shelter in place was just starting to get instituted, we were having some friends over just cause like a one last hurrah of like we
yeah,
can't we'll be able to do this for us. Let's get some friends over,
yeah,
and like it just took forever and a half to get
yeah,
things going. Like some people were showing up late, and
yeah,
then when everyone got here, like there was like a gazillion other things that were going on,
mhm,
and I ended up like popping something, and
yeah,
my roommate, he was like, bro, like you need to realize that like the world, like your schedule shouldn't control you,
yeah,
and he confronted me about it, which I'm glad he did,
yeah,
and we talked about it, and I said, yeah, it seems that way, but that's not really what's going on. And
yeah,
I kind of poured out to him a few days later. I just like all these inner struggles that um, that were really adding up to what had happened. And it's like when it looked like it looked like what I was saying and what I was doing were like had this the schedule aspect. Like
yeah,
there was some truth to that.
yeah,
That there was a little bit I let my own schedule get to me, but beyond that, there were other things that were really under the iceberg below the water, so to say.
yeah,
So yeah, that was, and that I'm talking him talking about the iceberg reminded me of that situation that when someone is acting a certain way, we don't like we can think it's something, but it's not just what we can see.
yeah. Wow. Yeah, wow. So um yeah, what's gonna call it? One thing I really love the point that you brought up was, using God to run away from God.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, wow. How many times have we done that? We use God to run away from God, and
Mm-hmm.
so like it's like we only address the tip of the iceberg so that we do not have to deal with what's underneath the waters.
Yeah, and like
And
I think it's something too is where like sometimes the work can get in the way.
yeah,
Um, so I know like when like like with some people work was a place where they could escape some of the things in their own personal lives because
mhm,
they could just focus on like the machines they were working on. They didn't have to worry about what was going on back at their homes. They didn't have to worry about what's going on with their family.
yeah,
But then like you realize that eventually that like you're gonna have like you clock out and you have to go somewhere.
yeah,
And I just know like with working with ministry, um,
yeah,
like it's an honor to get to teach the Bible. It's an honor to get to serve people. Um,
right,
but it does become very dangerous and very draining when we see that we want to do it for ourselves and not for God.
Yeah,
Um, and it takes the worship aspect out. Like, God, like there's so many box lunches I get to hand out today. Um,
yeah,
may this not be a thing of, oh, look at me, I can post on social media, I'm helping out the homeless or
yeah,
helping out those who are in need. Um, or you just passing them out because, God's blessed you with food and you want to be a blessing to someone.
yeah. Wow, wow. Oh yeah, wow, wow. Definitely. Um, yeah. I remember when I used to work at Breakthrough urban ministries, and we will feed the homeless and things like that. We would serve people who are going through homelessness, and and we
Mm.
make sure to tell people that we're not feeding the homeless. That's not the term we use. We use people going through a crisis of homelessness, because see, in
Yeah.
that way, the people that we serve, we
Mm.
we affirm them in the image of God, that they are created, and that and that they are to be loved, they are to be affirmed, and and we cannot just treat people like project, or like the number or something like that. And I feel like sometimes when we serve, you know like how you mentioned, we like to serve media message or for our reputation. We like to do things, so that we could feel good about ourselves. Ultimately, it's about like
Mm.
how can I feed my ego? How can I feel good about myself? But the thing is, so it's more like, what? Like it doesn't really matter. Like in our minds, sometimes we could get caught up in the trap where it's like, who cares what the other people think, and things like that, and everything like that. And so um um like at Breakthrough, when I used to serve there, like we will always like really check our hearts and really ask ourselves, why am I doing this? you know why am I doing this?
Mm.
Am I really here to serve people? Am I really here to serve, or am I really here to feed my ego? And so um and that makes like a whole world of a difference in our attitude of serving, right?
Yeah. When I was at Lawndale last summer, my supervisor, we had to talk about that of
Yeah,
like, like are we using the are we like are is the way we're saying things, how is that influencing how we view people? And not
mm,
just that, but like, are we coming here because we like what we do? Are we coming here because we need to make money? Are we coming here? Well, there wasn't money for me involved, um, but are we coming here because we get the chance to serve people and to
yeah,
serve God by serving people?
yeah,
And he had a very, very pastoral approach to that, and I really appreciated that. It really stuck out to me of how he, and it was really evident. There we go, in the way he interacted with people,
mm,
whether it be the people in like the higher ups, the offices next to him, or the people on the street, or the people he was giving tours to, or
yeah,
um, the WCH staff. Like it was phenomenal.
yeah.
Just seeing how he viewed people in a healthy way and viewed his service in a healthy way.
Mm, wow. Amen, amen, amen. Wow. You know, one thing is that, when I'm working with people, when I'm working in ministry, you know, I really appreciate it when we are not just serve, when we work and we say we hold each other accountable. I really appreciate it when we hold each other accountable in a way where like we're checking up on each other.
Hmm.
We are when we are checking up on each other. You know, but like how like sometimes you feel like accountability feels like it's a police thing, where like oh, am I being policed right now? Am I being like
Hmm.
checked right now? I'm not being checked up. No, it's like
Yeah.
sometimes no, and sometimes we could do that to others, right? sometimes we could be like, hey, you know what? Like it's like, hey, I don't like this about you, I don't like that about you, but we don't do that in a way where like we care about the person's soul, we don't care about the person's well-being, but we're only doing it because we just want to address the tip of the iceberg, but we don't want to go underneath, right?
Yeah.
Because you know, cause it's like when you go underneath, then you're really we are really addressing the humanity of the people that we serve, right?
Mhm.
And so it's like, yeah, wow, wow. So you know what? With that being said, I really appreciate that book, Emotionally Healthy Spirituality. And for me, that book has been like a 10-year journey for me, actually. I actually ran across that book about like 10 years ago. Um,
Mhm.
and then um and then as I get older, I start to emotionally,
Mhm.
become more aware of myself, where I'm at and everything. And as I become more emotionally aware about myself, as I become more aware of like what's underneath my iceberg, under my mess and everything, I could
Mhm.
better listen to others, so
Yeah.
that I could better be more compassionate, have more empathy and things like that. So,
I gotta get. I think I heard my buzzer. Yeah, I'll be right back.
okay. All right. All right. Well, yeah, definitely. Thank you, everybody, for joining us and things like that. Wait, what's going on, Michael? What's going on, Natalie? What's going on? Um, yeah, what's going on, Eddie? And 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 some other people that by the way of this other ways that we have met together and everything. Well, as we are waiting for Matt to um, um, take care of his business in regards to this whole like buzzer thing. Um, all right, you're back, Matt.
Yeah, there was. I thought I heard there might have been a package. I heard a watch. So
Oh, okay. Yeah. So um, yeah. Wow. So, anyways, yeah. Do you have any Well, it looks like I'm gonna have to sign off soon and things like that. But do
okay.
you have any like last thoughts, final words, or anything?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I got out of this chapter is the idea of being aware. So
Okay.
it's not so much about diving into the fact of like, oh, like what does your iceberg look like, but actually like pointing out the fact that you actually have one. Um,
Wow.
and I know that we often tend to like to think about like, oh, like if I'm gonna have something, I have to know
Yeah.
what it looks like.
Yeah.
But what chapter one really did for me was saying, no, like you have an iceberg,
Yeah.
and kind of pointed out some things that kind of like you start to see what its shape is.
Yeah.
Um, and then I haven't interacted with the book that much, but I'm going to assume that past it, he's literally going to get into like what is your iceberg shaped like, and then how
Yeah.
does that shape how you see things. So
Oh, yeah. Wow. Oh, wow. Amen. 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 Wow. You know what? You know what? Those are really great reflections that and some great points that you brought out and everything. And so yeah, guess we'll see how I could download this or off of what's call it off of this Instagram live and see if we could upload it on YouTube or something like that and get a better hang of this whole different thing in regards to recording or things like that.
yeah,
And so yeah, I'm looking forward to like the next time we talk about as we continue on with this book and with this journey and things like that. So um yeah, well, anyways, I gotta get going. So now that I'm stepping outside, I'm going
yeah,
to Corona zone, man. You know, so I'm gonna make sure that no, I protect myself from others, and I protect others from myself too. So,
amen.
amen. All right then. All right, peace.
Peace.